Hello, welcome to the channel. Just a short introduction to this series of videos. Clarice and I recently did a trip down to Ushuaia from our home here in Curitiba. We started on October the 25th and the trip took 45 days. Wasn't without its problems. We had a couple of problems along the way with the motorcycle, but we managed to overcome those, so that was good. We started off with 4 different cameras, a GoPro 12 mounted on the handlebars. Clarice was holding a GoPro 11 on a selfie stick on the pillion, and we had a mirrorless camera plus a long lens plus Clarice's iPhone. Unfortunately, the GoPro 11 was stolen when we were at Linares in Chile. Chile seems to have a problem with robbery, so if you're ever there, be careful. But anyway, we lost 35 days of footage on that camera, which was a big shame. But anyway, we've still got some good footage to show, so without any further ado, let's get on with it. It was with a great sense of excitement and trepidation we left home in Curitiba mid-morning and set off for our goal of the day, 550 kilometres southwest to the border town of Dionisio Cerqueira. The ride was typical of Brazil: trucks crawling up hills, impatient drivers and dodgy overtaking. The weather was good most of the way, but shortly after Francisco Beltrão, dark clouds appeared to the west, and sure enough, it soon started to rain. As we departed our lunch stop, we noticed a strange sound coming from the area at the back of the bike, but after inspection couldn't find anything obvious, so we carried on. Little did we know that this was going to turn into a major problem the next day. We checked into the same hotel we stayed at on our Atacama journey 7 months earlier, dried our wet gear as best as possible, had a meal and settled in for a good night's sleep, as the ride had taken 9.5 hours and, as always in Brazil, was nerve-wracking and tiring. The next morning dawned warm but cloudy, with spots of rain and 20 degrees, as we quickly cleared the border and set off southwards down the lovely, bike-friendly Ruta 14. They had to make a long detour into Oberá, as the road was closed due to an accident on a bridge, which turned the day into an 8-hour ride. The weather cleared into a beautiful day, but the noise from the back of the bike was becoming more distinct and worrying. We hadn't booked anywhere to stay in Santo Tome, and after a lot of frustrating searching and U-turns, we found a nice place to stay a little out of town and ordered a pizza in for dinner. While we drove around, we had the first drop of the trip as Clarice stood up to dismount when I wasn't ready and I couldn't hold the bike vertical. More embarrassing than anything, and Clarice ended up with mud all over the back of her jacket. On inspecting the chain tension, I found that the rear axle nut had come loose and there was sideways movement of the back wheel. Obviously something was seriously wrong and could have meant the end of our trip before it even really started. We needed to come up with a plan and decided it would be easier to cross the border back into Brazil at São Borja and either try to find a repair or ship the bike back to Curitiba rather than do this in Argentina. So it was a worrying night's sleep, not knowing what was wrong and if we could carry on. The next day was a short ride to the border and then across the Uruguay River to São Borja. We checked in at the Raffaello Hotel, and in a stroke of luck, Raphael was on the desk, and as it turns out, he rode motocross, so had good contacts in town to help us with the bike. After taking off the bags, he jumped on his bike and guided us across town to his friends at Turuna Moto Peckers. These guys were awesome and quickly diagnosed the problem as a missing internal spacer in the back wheel. Here we are at the Uruguay River, São Borja, Brazil. This river is the border between Brazil and Argentina. Tomorrow we cross the bridge behind us and carry on our way in Argentina. We had fitted new tyres for the journey, and the spacer must have fallen out unnoticed at the tyre shop round the corner from home where I took the wheels to fit the tyres. A new spacer was engineered that same afternoon and fitted along with a new wheel bearing which had been destroyed and was the source of the noise. For all this, they only charged 380 reais, or 122 New Zealand dollars, which truly saved our journey. So, I can't recommend these guys more highly, and if you are crossing the border at São Borja and experiencing problems with your bike, these are the guys to see. And a shout out to Raphael at Raffaello Hotel as well, who treated us very well. The next day dawned cloudy and cool. Once again we crossed into Argentina and turned south into a cold, strong wind that soon turned to heavy rain. The road was busy, so it was a slow journey which took over 11 hours. I miscalculated and nearly ran out of fuel, so we had to go into fuel conservation mode at one stage, but luckily found petrol with only 1.1 litres to spare. We stopped for a long lunch break and much needed rest. We eventually made it to Concordia, a city of 180,000 inhabitants on the banks of the Uruguay River and bordering the city of Salto in Uruguay. We managed to drive straight past our hotel, but eventually found it, unloaded the bike, found secure parking and went walking down to the river before a delicious dinner at a nice restaurant. that's it for this video. Join us next time as we continue south before heading west across the vast emptiness of internal Argentina and the stunning mountains that lie in wait.